I'm James Corvin. Worked in tourism for 5 million years. That's why I look this old. I know Mackay well. I've had a couple of stints at Mackay Tourism between managers, so we spent quite a bit of time there. And I had 10 years at Tourism Queensland, at Tourism Events Queensland, in the marketing area. So what we're looking at today is how we can help you now that things are starting to open up. But it is a discussion. It's different from the other presentations and classes, master classes and so on that have happened. And we want to get you involved on how you can help yourselves, a bit of feedback, and also how Mackay Tourism might be able to help you. So we've just lost you, Chrissy. Gone to a blob on the screen.
No, it's okay. I just turned my video off.
Right. That's disconcerting.
So she can eat in peace, James. This is probably the only time she gets to eat.
Right.
I actually went out for lunch today. I was actually just going to answer this phone call.
That's right. Okay, it's the bookie. So, have you seen much movement in terms of people starting to come into the caravan parks there, or is it still early days for that?
Well, we're not officially opening till tomorrow, James. So we're getting. We'll miss that, James. Sorry.
No, keep going.
Yeah, we're opening tomorrow. So because we still had renovations and stuff in place that there was just no way we could complete them until well, we're still pushing up a hill at the moment. Yep. But yeah, no, look, we've got bookings coming in left, right and centre. We've got no worries with bookings. It's really kind of scary, the amount of bookings that we're getting through. But it's beautiful. Like I'm not complaining. But yeah. That's
good. Anyone else in terms of feedback on what's happening out there? You might just have to, oh, hang on. We've got a yellow thing.
Chrissy, to unmute me.
Chrissy, she's on the phone. Chrissy, oh dear, she's a worry. Well, we'll go on to
James, I'm just going to Bev, who's trying to get on. Okay.
All right, well, Mel and Matt want to be
unmuted. Can you unmute Mel and Matt, please?
Chrissy?
Okay, all right, well, yeah, do that. Yeah.
You need to do that, yeah. They're putting up pieces of paper with notes on them at the end of the camera. Please unmute us, Chrissy.
Okay. We're unmuted, thank you.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah, we're getting definitely busier.
Sorry, everybody can unmute themselves.
Right. Good now. Okay, we've got control of it. How good's that? Sorry, keep going.
That's okay. Yeah, the phones are really busy. And we're still noticing though some over the, southerners who are calling up and they're actually on the move. They're nomads and they're already in Queensland and they're just trying to get their way around. So that's right. One of the...
We won't let them in, will we? Jeez.
We want to.
I've just driven up from Brisbane to Bundaberg, literally just parked now in the car, and I have to say the roads are still pretty quiet. Certainly, I know this route really well. We didn't see any vans at all on the trip, but that's obviously a timing thing, I think. I was at Mount Tambourine with a meeting on Tuesday, and not with caravan parks, but with cottages and so forth. And they were starting to get really busy, and their biggest problem was things like, because of the lack of notice in starting up, they were having trouble getting things like laundry and so forth, which they hire. And because it was suddenly, hang on, what have we got a note there? Renee's. Hang on, Renee, you can undo yourself.
Renee, everybody can unmute themselves. That's what I've put it on.
She's putting language. Oh, there you go.
Right. Okay. That comes up with a message saying you can't unmute yourself.
Well, I've put it on. Everyone can unmute, so I don't know what's going on. Anyway, everybody stay unmuted, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Sorry. Okay.
So just on that, and we don't want to just go into the depths of what you're doing in terms of COVID at your parks, but some of the feedback I've had from other areas is people are looking on websites of places, of properties and so forth, just for confidence, I suppose, that they're COVID safe and what they've done. So I haven't had a chance this morning to have a look at your websites. Are you doing that? Because this is something before people come, and in some areas it's quite prevalent.
Okay, so for us, the only thing that we've got online is our change of terms and conditions.
Right.
So our terms and conditions highlight the fact that they are required to fill out a stat dec form, and they must submit that 2 days prior to arrival. Also, it is stated within the stat dec form what our requirements and restrictions are, but I haven't officially stated that we are COVID safe, which we are.
Right. Well, that's probably something that you should do, just in terms of, you know, when people look at a site, that will jump out at them. And we've, as I say, I've already had from other areas quite a bit of comment on that. So,
Mel,
in the way of potential customer, or in the way of
ringing up people, ringing up properties and saying, you know, are you COVID safe? Have you got whatever? And the discussion we had yesterday with the larger corporate hotels is that I'm based in Brisbane, so I'm a bit biased in that. The fact that people in the city in Brisbane are really still very much COVID aware. There's some people aren't, but probably more so than you are in Mackay, because you had very few cases or anything in the north. But here people are still a bit titchy on things. So they just want that confidence in terms of knowing those things, and that'll help them move forward.
Mel, have Big Four given you something specific to put on your sites about being COVID safe?
They're pretty much getting information from Michelle at Caravan in Queensland, so it's very similar. So I've already been enjoying it from Michelle. Whatever Michelle sends me, that's what I'm going off still.
Yep. So, and it's up on your website, is it?
On the Big Four.
On the Big Four website, yep. So our website just redirects to the main Big Four website. Yep.
Good. Okay, because you know, just to give you an indication, in Brisbane, traffic on the roads is back to about normal, even though there's a lot of people still not back at work, and the trains and the buses are virtually empty because people, you know, are scared of travelling with the great unwashed in the carriage and the train or whatever it might be. So it was just an interesting, Chrissy, we had an interesting discussion with the hotels yesterday, and they were more thinking of it from the Mackay point of view, which is fine, but the visitors are coming from other places. So it's like country people are probably going to be quite relaxed about it. City people are still quite concerned. So just as long as...
Can I just say, a lot of our bookings are coming from the Sunshine Coast, like that Brizzy way, and they've got no issues. They're doing their bookings online. They don't even come through with questions. So
you've got something on site though that deals with it. That's what you said. They've got to click and read the things and sign a deck or whatever. Yeah. So So you do it. Well, there's some properties we've looked at, not amongst you guys, but I just did a random thing throughout the area, and there's still quite a lot of people not putting it in their site at all. So that's where the concerns are happening.
Okay, can I also add to that? And yes, I was the square when I went to school, and I have to do everything by rules and regulations, and I am approaching this in the way of rules and regulations. Yep. I know, Chrissy. But I've actually had to turn some people away because they're not meeting the requirements. Like there was a school group, and and I'm not biased in the way that I'm saying this. It was an international school group. It is amongst us that we are not allowed to accept school groups. Right. And I so forwardly explained this to this gentleman, and he got quite upset. He said that there are other parks out there who have accepted us, and I just said, well, I'm sorry, that's our obligation under legislation that we can't accept school groups. So there are obviously the flip side where some people are willing to push the lines as well. Yep. But in the way of traffic and movement, I would have to say, to me, Mackay is pretty much back to normal. Like last night, there were 3 motorhomes, camper vans, and what have you. There was 11 of them further down the road, right. Just parking on the side of the road. This morning, we have had 6 motorhomes, 1 caravan, and 1 camper trailer pull up outside.
Good. That's great to see them on the move. As I say, it just struck me because I do this run quite often, and there was just none on the road. So This is very, very, very strange to see that, to be honest. But perhaps, you know, and again, it's only early days, and you're still quite a few days up the highway from where we are now. So in terms of their travel. Okay. That's really positive. What we've been talking to the groups about is there anything we can do in terms of putting you together with other, not other caravan parks for that matter, or could be, or with attractions and so forth, or looking at some small itineraries and self-drive things that will help keep them there longer, because that's obviously what we want to do for you. So is there anything in that line? For instance, as I say, yesterday, we can only talk about yesterday because it was the first one, we were talking about the corporate hotels who are obviously looking for business at the weekends, leisure business. So, you know, how could we help them package or bundle up things, or give them ideas for people to do, because that's not in their psyche, because they've been dealing with the business side of things, and leisure is quite different to them. Now, I know you're in the leisure business, but is there any opportunities for Chris, because she's got plenty of time on her hands, Chrissy, to be able to help with that, to put some ideas together, because that's what we're going back to the other group with, and potentially have one of these where we actually get people with, you know, whether it's the Wave Park, whether it's people with things up at Youngle or whatever it might be, to put them together. So actually do a bit of speed dating on Zoom.
I found a whale watching boat that goes from Mackay today. Action
Really?
Charters. So I'm going to ring them up. I'll get them to become a member, because that shouldn't be too hard, especially when it costs nothing at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sort of get them in our system with us, and then that's something that, you know, you guys can work with, because I know that especially the corporate hotels, they're saying, you know, we've got nowhere to send them, you know, as in attractions. But yeah, we just found out about that one. So anything like that, like we're just sniffing around everywhere, seeing what's available. And Alta started back with their indoor, their indoor go-karts again. Did you know we had indoor go-karts?
Yeah. What's the actual official name that they give themselves? Sorry, Chrissy.
They're go-karts.
Yeah.
Sideways?
Side tracks.
Side tracks.
Yeah, and I know Alta would appreciate any business, because they, you know, they hadn't been open that long, and then they got closed down, and then
COVID.
Yeah. But yeah, so action charters, so we'll get them in our system as well. But these are all the things that we were looking at that we can, so when people come here, they go, oh, you know, there's our trips that we can do, but there's actually all these other things to do that people might not be aware of. And Amanda at the Wake Park is also doing stand-up paddleboarding, which is very cool. Yep. And Mel, you're going to have that beautiful path finished soon.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We were thinking about getting bikes to hire out so people can hire the bikes and go for rides into the harbour. Yep.
Any electric bikes for me?
Yeah, that would be good.
Links up to the...
See, James, that's where you need those little tuk-tuks where somebody else can pedal you along and give you all the information about the harbour location.
Exactly. That's right.
Now we're talking.
In fact, Chrissy would be good for peddling one of those.
By the time I finish this, I'll be working 24 hours a day.
But seriously, you know, we are coming across some new products, awesome products that people have forgotten about. So part of this exercise is to gather a few things together at the end of next week or early the following week to get out to you guys, to just make sure that everyone's aware of those products, because it's, you know, I do get the thing at time to time, there's nothing to do in Mackay. Well, there is quite a few things to do in Mackay, of course, and it's about remembering it. You know, we've got 101 things. Well, there's more than that now. And it's about how do we then get that message through to visitors so they plan to stay some longer time there, so that we can, you know, keep them in your places longer, and some more dollars going through the community. So that's the whole concept of it.
Can I just say, like our branding for Mackay is on key. It's nature reserve. That's what a lot of people love about Mackay, because they get to go out and they do nature things, orientated things. That's why I think we haven't got a problem here. Most of our weekends we're cramming people in at the moment. They want to get out, they want to be in the open space because they've been inside 4 walls, you know, having an issue with being crammed in those 4 walls and allowed to go anywhere else. At the moment, June is a 30-day, like I've got it on my Facebook page that I'm running. It's June is officially the 30 days wild. So each Sunday I'm giving hints and tips of what you can do for the week to make sure you're outdoors doing stuff. Part of it's locally orientated. This one that I've got going on Sunday is 100% orientated. It's about supporting local. So it's literally pushing people out to different local attractions or different local areas of things what you can do. So, you know, tell the hotels and motels they need to focus on outdoor stuff. Like, I know that's quite obvious, but that's what Mackay is about. It's about nature reserved and getting out and, you know, out this way out at the Hibiscus Coast, which a lot of people I don't think realise, and I actually didn't realise that one of the islands were available to go out to. But even down in Seaforth, there's actually walking tracks that take you out over onto islands on that low tide again. People love the fact that they get to go walking where normally the ocean is. Right. So, you know, walking over to Wedge Island is a big attraction for some people for some reason, along with Orchid Rock. But there's actually also one in Seaforth that you can do the same thing with. And there's also another island, which I only just learned about the other day, that got posted, actually by Mackay Tourism, I think.
So thanks, Renee, because that's really valuable, because what we want to do, as I said, is try and pull some of that stuff together and then remind the industry about it, because, you know, not everyone knows about it. And particularly with school holidays coming up and so forth, it's like, how do we, you know, as you say, people have been stir crazy, stuck at home. It's even worse, stuck at home with your kids. But, you know, what's a whole, so we want to give them a whole lot of ideas about what they can do around the area, both indoors and outdoors, so that we can get them, as I say, not just a quick visit, but to get as many days as we can out of them to try and build that back up again.
Jane,
okay, another one is, sorry.
I'm just going to get Dan to jump on now too, because I thought I'd get him on to explain what's coming up marketing-wise, and we can have a chat to him about this as well for when he's creating itineraries.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so I told him I'd text him when it was his time.
Good.
Okay. Can I just mention another big thing in Mackay that can be done that, and I don't know if people are aware of it, geocaching is really readily available along the Blue Water Keys. It's getting people outdoors. It's online based as well if you want it to be. It's something that really has taken off out here as well, because there's some little cases out here that people go looking along the walking trails. I've created a mini one within our park for our guests so that the kids can do it and they're not having to walk along trails. As far as I'm aware, there's a lot along the Blue Water Keys. There's also some out at Slade Point. It's like a hunt and find that really, yeah. I know it's not an official attraction, but trust me, it's a big following.
We're not worried about official or unofficial attractions. We're just looking at things. You know, we'll probably go back through 101 things to do in Mackay just to go back and refresh ourselves, because what happens is you type of move on and something else comes up and you forget about these things, or you don't know about them. So that's the whole concept of this, is to try and get everyone with a whole lot of really good reasons why people should stay in Mackay and the region, obviously. So, Chrissy, when's Daniel? When?
10 past 2.
10 past 2. Okay.
I'm just going to send him the link.
Yeah, because that would be good if he's doing itineraries to include some of that thing, so we can get it out to the industry, but also out to the consumers.
So with that whale watching, was that called Action Charters?
Yes.
Yep. I'll get in touch with them, because that's something I can definitely push for school holidays coming up.
Right.
Yeah. Matt and I we were up at Airlie last week. The whales are out there now. So we're in our little tinny, and one just popped up right next to us. So that was pretty amazing. So yeah, definitely. And we've got kids stay free for holidays, just to try and get the families in. So if I can promote something like that, I'll get on board and see if they can.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And hopefully give them a real good push along as well. So that's the way it works, isn't it? If we can give them some business and you some business.
once I have a chat to them, I've got them down to ring this afternoon. I'll just send everybody an email and just let you know how I went with that.
Awesome.
And Bev and Judy, who I know are watching this, if you want to make a comment, there's a little chat box down the bottom. Just type in your comments and I can read them out for everybody.
So it could be even things like, you know, if you've got a contact, you know, Chrissy, if we've got some people in the fishing world on what's being caught at the moment and where no one will give you the secret spot, of course, but, you know, things like that.
Oh, there we go. We've got Matt.
Yeah.
He's a mad keen fisherman.
Matt will tell us where they're being caught. That's the usual thing with fishermen. Is that they're secret spots. It's a bit like surfers. Where's the great wave? Oh, you know, it's just, you know, and yeah, but things like, you know, things that we perhaps don't think about. And, you know, Matt, you can talk about that, but, you know, fishing is the #1 recreational sport that people do. And so there's a great opportunity there for, you know, just to give it a plug.
Absolutely. Definitely. Like Mackay region all the way up to Ellie Beach is just unbelievable fisheries. It's incredible. And you don't have to have a boat. You can catch barra at the dams, off the bank, near the boat ramp. And you know, it's just, there's guys out here that do little charters. We're pretty good friends with one of the guys. He's one of the best fly fishermen in Australia. And we got him here in Mackay, and he can take you to Kinship Dam, Jeanborough, Prossie Dam. We were up there about a week ago. You can actually see the barra sitting in the weed. You can see their dorsal fins just moving, and you creep up to them. You can actually see them. They're 90 centimetre plus fish. It's incredible.
Right.
So it's insane what we've got here. And let alone the tuna that come through here near the harbour. You can catch Spanish mackerel, tuna off the rocks. Incredible place.
Yeah, I think that's one of the really good opportunities for you, is to get that message out, because sometimes people think it's like a specialist thing, but in fact it's not specialist. As I say, believe the official figures are fishing is the most popular sport for Australians, and you know, as you say, it's everything from people with a tinny to a big boat to a charter to just dropping it in off a line off a bank or a dam or the river or whatever it may be. And that's another good reason. Just, you know, if we can get that out, Chrissy, through our source, in terms of just reminding people what we've got there and what's biting at the moment, I think that's another reason for people to come and stay. And as you say, Matt, quite correctly, we've been doing a bit of work on this. If we say from Rocky through to Prossie, there are so many great opportunities to go fishing in central Queensland. You know,
Definitely.
You know, you've got the dams, you've got the rivers, you've got the beach, you've got, as you say, offshore. There's a whole range of things people can do. So perhaps I think we just about boast in Australia that we've got the most opportunities for people to go fishing for all kinds of fish in all kinds of situations.
Definitely. It's mind-blowing. We got the AFC that just happened. It's a shame that COVID was there, but we're getting the best fishermen in Australia fish our dams, and they're doing tournaments here. We've got we've got the Barra, also the ABT Tour championships that come every year. These guys come from all over Australia. It's not promoted on TV as such, but these are teams that some of the guys actually from overseas. We've had Bone, he's from Singapore, and he did the comp. You got the Wilson guys, you know, the big names, and they come into Mackay. Wilson guys come and stay with us. I'm pretty good friends with them. They were staying here prior to me being a manager here, so it's just a bonus that they come and stay with us and we spend some time together. But these guys are experts.
And they try to plug us as well. They actually, one of them did a big write-up in the latest fishing edition that goes Australia-wide, and they said everyone needs to get to Mackay. They gave us a really good plug.
Good.
Well. But yeah.
And I know Michael Harris well from AFC, so I know he gives the area a big plug.
And there's another fishing for Mill coming up in the not too distant future. So when Dan comes on, we'll ask him about that one as well. Oh, there's Dan.
I saw his name flash up.
Sorry, Chris, you muted. How's it going?
Good. Hey, Dan.
Yes.
Actually, Renee, can you just do a quick recap again of what you were talking about, like some places that you know how you're talking about Seaforth and walking across and whatever. Dan probably knows all these places. But the other
I was
thing,
just going to say, because
yeah, off you go. Go.
sorry. I was just saying, like, talking about activities for people to go out and do, because James was mentioning some of the motels, hotels are looking for those external activities. And I'm pretty sure you've just recently done a post on the Seaforth islands that they can walk out to.
Yeah,
there was one island, yeah, Redcliffe, but there was also a second one which I wasn't aware of either, that you can walk out to, that you posted up. So that was really, really great. So I don't think a lot of the hotels, motels are aware of those.
Yep.
And same out here, a lot of people love walking out to Wedge Island and Orchid Rock. Probably not as aware of the tides as people should be, and that's something the hotels and motels need to make their guests aware of, is those tides. Also mentioned geocaching is something that's really big in amongst people who like to go out adventuring as well. And there's a lot of cases along the Blue Water Keys there. So a lot of the hotels, motels within Mackay could deal quite well with those.
Yep.
And something else that we suggest people to do is also do the Botanical Gardens, in the way that the adults are usually wanting to see what type of, flora and fauna are around that area. But for the kids, there's always the Mackay rocks that are hidden around the Botanical Gardens, which makes it a great element for the kids. And then also the Orchid House. A lot of our travelling, the travelling market are more interested in orchids. I don't know what it is about orchids. Maybe they're better kept in caravans. I don't know, but they really are interested in orchids.
Yeah.
So, some of the hours of the Orchid House.
Home, you've got to have a special knack of growing orchids, so it's probably, something a bit exotic for people to go and see.
Renee,
Yeah.
can you do a post on our Mackay tourism page, and just with a few dot points of, hey, everybody, did you know all these, you can do all these activities, just so that we can get the conversation started with each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, because Dan sort of does our big stuff, but just with each other. And, our motels and, big corporate motels will be possibly looking at that and going, oh, Chrissy didn't tell us about that the other day because I didn't even think of it. So, yeah, that would be great if we
Because you've got everything else to do, Chrissy, you poor thing.
that would be just great if we, and I was thinking, like we were talking about the fishing as well, we could start a real fishing commentary on there about, oh, I went to so-and-so and, the fish are biting, blah, blah. I just think that would be another good thing. So, the people that are in some of these places might be stuck in the motels and whatever working, but they still got information to feed their guests.
I think Renee, you do it really well. Cape Hillsborough Nature Tourist Parks website in particular, because I've used it quite a few times. It's got a really good breakdown of activities to do, not just around Cape Hillsborough, but I guess around the whole Mackay region. So I think that's probably a pretty good example, Chrissy, that we could probably show to our members.
Okay.
This is a sort of information resource, become not just obviously a place to stay at night, but become a bit of a visitor information centre in yourself. And obviously not just the website, but Facebook pages can be really key to do that as well. Mackay, obviously our Visit Mackay Facebook page shares a lot of content. And, obviously a lot of that, individual businesses can just reshare that and say, whilst you're seeing, North and South Redcliffe Island, come in and stay at, motel or Caravan Park or et cetera. And, or, restaurants as well, after a big day fishing at Kinchin Dam for barra or whatever, come in and, have a good feed at such and such. And I think that's just a pretty easy resource to just tap into, to share. I've spoken before that social media doesn't have to be super polished, the photos. If you're just out and taking photos, on a simple iPhone, people sort of can relate to that a bit more than your big professional shoots. So, it can be something as simple as that, or just sharing our content, or seeing what other obviously operators are doing as well. Make sure you follow your your fellow operators and see what they're up to and see sort of what sort of content is most engaging with consumers.
So Dan, Matt was going to tell us exactly his private places where he gets all his good fish.
Yeah.
But seriously, fishing is a really attractive thing for people to do, and I think that's another great opportunity is for us to let not just the operators but also the public know that it's such a fantastic fishing area, and to give a few hints about where stuff are biting, not exactly position and what they're being caught on, but I think that's something that we need to do in terms of getting that message out as well. And particularly with the school holidays coming up, it's another thing for kids to do that are pretty easy to do.
Yeah. Something as simple as just telling kids if they want to come in and say, I just want to catch a fish. If you can just tell them, not just obviously directions to the local tackle store, but if you can tell them the fishing platforms on near the hospital, that's sort of already telling, giving some real good advice, and that's that sort of advice that people. I know as a kid, when I go somewhere fishing, if someone can tell me a bit of a local, expert, and you don't really even have to be much of an expert, that really sort of, you remember that.
Is there, just on that topic as well, is there any way of, because I know like some of the tackle stores in Mackay do their own fishing comps, but for these school holidays coming up, Matt and I were wondering if there's any way maybe Mackay Tourism could send out like as a region in Mackay, so people staying in any caravan park or in Mackay region, if there's like a kids fishing competition that could be done just for the school holidays. That way,
competitions at the moment are a little bit tricky with obviously the restrictions on sort of, I guess, people congregating. I know there's normally, and it obviously got cancelled this year because it was in the middle of COVID. They normally do a comp in about April at Goose Ponds, which is a bit of a introduction to kids fishing comp. But that Hooked on Mackay Facebook page, that it should be on our website as well. You can just search Hooked on Mackay. They provide a lot of like weekly fishing reports and any sort of fishing competitions that are happening. They'll release it through there. So that's probably another good page to follow, because again, there's probably enough in that weekly fishing update that if someone comes into the caravan park or the motel and asks sort of where the fish are biting, there's probably enough information on that to give a fairly good advice.
And get it out to our visitors so that they start thinking about, I could spend a week in Mackay region doing this, and this, and fishing's one of those great things.
Yeah, I was sort of meaning more like an online. So while they're staying with us for those 2 weeks, if their child catches one down the back, like not congregating together, but if they've gone down to the harbour for a fish and they get a good fish, they can take a photo of it and then email it through or something.
Yeah, there's that Hooked on Mackay page does a monthly competition where it's just like that. You take a photo of your fish and upload it to send it to the Facebook page, and they'll give out, I think at the moment it's a fishing shirt and a fishing lure, so I think that's pretty good engagement. And if that means a visitor, particularly if a visitor wins that's always really good, because then they go home with a Hooked on Mackay fishing shirt and promote, I guess, become a walking billboard effectively. So that's probably a good resource for them to use.
Now, what I might do, I think I'll actually just contact all the tackle shops. They can all become our free members too. Well, this is the sort of half the point of doing this, so that we just, I suppose, grow our tourism community, because they can be part of it and work out what the best way for them is to get their message out to, to our operators who get it to the people that are visiting. So I'm just going to...
Can I ask Chrissy then, with that, when you're talking to them, can you ask them to put together anybody that they know, or if their shop actually hires out fishing equipment? Because I know very few people hire out fishing equipment, but a lot of our travellers don't have their own equipment, but they want to fish. I'd love to do it, but I don't have time to fix all of the issues with the lines when they come back in. I'm trying to run the caravan park as it is. It'd be great if we had somebody that we could send them to that they could hire the equipment from.
Great
In that
business,
same token,
good business opportunity for someone that they probably not thought
And-
about.
Yeah, I'll let them know.
Boat hire, I know, is something that people have jumped up and down about.
What's that, Dan?
Myself.
in the same token,
I know a boat hire business is something that a lot of people on social media have sort of called for in Mackay. And I mean, that obviously doesn't directly relate to consumer demand from visitors, but I think tackle world, I'm pretty sure hire out equipment, but definitely that'd be a good one to ask him, Chris.
Yeah, I'll just find out and I'll post it out on, I'm just using that Mackay Tourism Facebook just more and more. Like, I really need our operators to be on it and to be engaging in it so that it can become a chatting platform, pretty much.
Yep. Jason is the main one that I send most people to when they ask about boat hire, because I know there's not a lot of places you can hire boats within Mackay, which I can understand because it's a high maintenance kind of situation. So I usually refer them to Jason. My other thing though, Chrissy, when you are talking to those tackle places, it'd be great to sort of like get a summary during the season, because obviously certain fish come out in certain season, and certain combination of your bait, your sinker, your hook, all of that makes a difference to what you can and can't catch. It'd be great if they could sort of like do a bit of a summary for the months of June, July and August. These are the hooks, these are the kind of sinkers, this is the kind of bait that you should be using, and these are the locations you can find it in.
Yeah.
Did they have that?
Sorry, Renee. The
Hooked on Mackay,
Hooked on Mackay website has that. So on the page, there's a
that sounds like something we should all be on.
Whoever's doing the write up for Hooked on Mackay, he knows his stuff. Like every time I read it, I know he's on the money. Oh, is it really?
I don't do the Facebook page, but pretty much everything on the website I wrote.
The website.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, whoever's doing the post about the fish, when what's happening where and how, and just the summary of how to catch a certain fish. Like,
Yeah,
who does that? He knows his stuff.
primarily that's Alana Brake, and her and her husband Lee works at the council. They're very, very good fisher anglers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they know their stuff, that's for sure.
I found out something new today. Good. I found a lot of new things today.
That's what it's all about, Chrissy. Remember?
This is why we've actually got this series of small group sessions, so that it just helps everybody's businesses grow, basically, isn't it?
So I'll just put the Hooked on Mackay website, and if you scroll down at the bottom, there's an interactive map, and on that map you can select sort of what month you're fishing, and then it'll come up with the target species. And each target species has got sort of a bit of a tip on sort of bait to use, what rigs, sort of strategies to tactics to get those fish. So, and if they don't work, you can blame me because I wrote them.
Okay, we'll let everyone know that.
Yeah, no, they're on the money. They're not afraid to tell everyone their secrets. That's for sure.
Excuse me. All right.
We've gone into cyberspace.
We're here, but we're just trying to find you.
So is there anything else that you think that, we've got some great ideas just come out of the discussion now. Anything more you think that Mackay Tourism can help with, or any other ideas that have been type of perhaps, excuse me, shuffled to the back of the queue that we've forgotten about?
Maybe we'll just give Dan, because Mel and Matt, you weren't on last night, were you?
No.
Can you give them a bit of a campaign update, please?
Yeah, no dramas. So we've got two campaigns. One that's in market at the moment, which is the Mates Rates campaign. It was formerly known as BOGO campaign. We just changed the name just because buy one get one free was a bit of a stretch, because obviously operators are hurting a bit, and obviously it's a bit of a difference between offering a free night to a free coffee or something like that. So we just changed it to Mates Rates. That went live. It was originally going to go live tomorrow, actually, when the initial stage 2 restrictions were to be eased, but obviously that changed last Sunday or Sunday before. So we brought that launch date forward. So already, as of yesterday, that webpage has been online from a week, and we've had over 4,000 unique visitors to that webpage. So that's obviously leveraging off the Tourism with Sundays brand. And there's also like TV ads, radio ads, digital ads, whole bunch of things in that campaign. With the second, and that campaign for us, it's primarily focused on the 4-hour drive. So getting sort of the mining communities of the Isaac region and Rocky and Townsville to to come up and see the Whit Sundays, come up and see Mackay, and obviously book directly with the operators. The other campaign we will be launching tomorrow, which is the Visiting Friends and Relatives campaign. It's a My Mackay, hashtag My Mackay and hashtag Our Isaac competition. So those campaigns will run until the 19th of July, which is pretty much all people need to do is just like the Visit Mackay Facebook page or Instagram page and just use the My Mackay or Our Isaac hashtags to their photos. So it's pretty easy to enter. And it's basically just a way of us to generate content, get people out seeing their region and inspiring their friends and relatives to come and visit. Because we're pretty sure sort of one of the first sort of markets that'll come back from COVID will be that friends and relatives, because obviously people have gone a fair while now without, if they've got family elsewhere in Queensland, they're probably pretty keen to come and visit them. So that's what this campaign's aiming to do. We've also got part of that campaign, we've got some pretty good prizes. So first prize, and there's two separate competitions, one for Isaac, one for Mackay. First prize will be a day with Mark Fitz. So you'll be able to go around with him and basically just get some tutorials on photography and social media posting. And then we've also got a weekend stay at Comfort Resort Blue Pacific and a drone to give away. So yeah, if you've got anyone obviously coming through the Caravan Park, just tell them to hashtag. It is only for locals, the campaign. So it's probably it's probably a little bit different. But yeah, it's pretty much just to get locals to hashtag their photos and trying to get them to inspire some friends and relatives.
Yeah,
Are you going to put it on the Buy Mackay page?
Sorry?
Will you put that on that Buy Mackay page?
I haven't actually seen that one, but I will. When
It's changed from We Pledge Mackay.
Oh, is it that page? Is it? Yeah, okay.
It's changed to Buy Mackay now.
Yeah.
So that got a really good, strong following, like a really targeted audience following. So that might be a good page to pop that on too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, we'll be sharing that one for sure. So we're going to do a post tomorrow when it goes live. So I'll share that onto the page for sure.
So we want to share the crap out of that to all our local people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
You got such a turn of phrase about you, Chrissy. Share the crap out of it.
Yeah. Check with the also advertising.
Yeah. Is that all we need from the marketing?
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll do
Thank
this
you.
for like all our sessions. I should have thought of it yesterday to get you on with that group, but
Nah, it's all right.
Yeah,
Our member updates have sort of what I've just said. So if anyone that's not in this needs to see it, it's in the member update, which will be going out tomorrow.
okay, excellent.
So easy. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, bye.
Good, Dan.
Thank you.
And the same with all the things we find through these sessions, we'll be going out at the end of it, sharing with everyone. So so you don't miss out any of the input we've got from the other groups. So that's that whole concept of sharing and learning through this. And it's amazing, like today, just the stuff that's come out. Yesterday, the stuff that's come out, we're doing some things on food, local foods, what will come out there and so forth. So Chrissy and I will have a talk about how we get it back out to you. And as I say, the opportunity perhaps to get some of the new people on, perhaps the Whale Watch people, perhaps people like that, to come and actually talk to one of these groups so that you can quickly hear what they've got to say and what they're doing.
Yeah, we'll bring them in. So what we've got is about 6 of these small group webinars, and I kept some that I didn't actually make groups with so that we could combine some groups so that we can have that chat. Just say that I get the whale people on, then we can bring them into a group, with people who are trying to you know, who are keen for attractions and that sort of thing. So, yeah, that's why I left some up my sleeve for that sort of thing, to create real action plans.
Clever thinking, Chrissy.
Thanks, James.
Can I just say I quickly jumped onto the Action Charters website, and it's all about, like, I'm just saying, all there is about is the fishing, which is great.
Started the whale.
Okay, right.
Yeah. You see on their Facebook, it said we've just started whale watching.
Okay, rightio.
So that's why I'm going to bring them up and find out, you know, when they're going, what time they're going, all that sort of thing.
Beautiful.
And then I'll get that information out to everybody.
Mm,
I'll probably have to buy a new boat soon.
Yeah.
Damn shame that.
Then we can send the other one out fishing.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say that I'm on a big mission for at the moment is just with the whole agri-tourism thing. Like, our produce in Mackay at the moment is so good, and at the farmers market, like, our farmers market have grown about 200% since COVID started. It's one good thing, because people want to know where their food's coming from. They want fresh, they want local, and this time of year our produce is really good. So I'm just really encouraging people to get to, you know, even in your cafes and that sort of thing, if you could be using some local produce. We've got local jams, you know, we've just got like all sorts of things at the moment, you know, like local milk and all that sort of thing. And people, one of the things, we did a big events webinar series, and Krista Horrocks gave us a bit of a graph on what was trending at the moment, and it's local, it's what you trust, genuine, you know, all that sort of thing. So
Ticks all the boxes for local food, local produce.
Absolutely does. And, you know, like, as a region, if we're all sort of even just using one or two local things in our food establishments, you just sort of see that theme. You just see that theme.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's just one of my missions at the moment, just one of them.
Thanks, Chrissy.
No worries.
Okay. Anything else that we've got? Otherwise, we're coming up to our time, and I know how busy you all are. Not that I want to get rid of you, but we want to try and keep to short and sharp.
Well, I'm going to put this up on the Facebook for any of the caravanners that didn't get. Well, it sort of relates to everybody, really.
Yep.
Good information for everybody. Anything
Good.
else from you, Mel and Matt?
Just, we need more time, more hours in the day. That would be great.
Problems.
12 o'clock knockoffs.
For everyone.
Okay, it's been
Yeah,
insane.
you're telling someone who uses every spare hour I can find.
Just with the
We're not asking much, just another 48 hours in the 24 hours that we already have would be awesome.
Yeah, I just feel so sorry for you, Renee, because I know
Oh.
you're friends with Mel on Facebook, and we go up to Ellen, she puts a photo up, and you'd be
I
just
know,
gritting your
poor-
teeth
yeah,
going,
poor
how
Renee.
come they can have a day off? But I tell you what, all this stuff that we've just had to do with the health management
Oh,
plan, workplace health and safety
crazy.
plan, the risk register, the cleaning list, cleaning
And then they
register,
gotta
the
pick
workplace
time.
things, it's just incredible
But then
information.
they can have all these riders.
Sorry, Mel, can't hear you. Oh, are you muted?
No, she did not.
Okay,
Yeah.
how's that?
Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, it was just about how flat out we are trying to, you know, get all the protocols done for caravan parks for the government, but yet all those riders could come together. It's doing all of our heads in. It's crazy. We've got so much to, you know, have in place. But
Actually, just one thing, this one might be for Renee, I suppose. I know you said something about the schools. We're a bit
Group.
upset with the group that you sort of let them know that it sort of can't happen there. We had someone that had Victorian license, Victorian rego on both of the vehicles, wanting to stay. It's a bit of a touchy one. It's a hard one too, but because of other caravan parks have let them stay in Queensland, we just had to make the decision on our own to think,
to not.
to sort of say to them, well, you know, people were told a long time ago, head back to their own state. And just because they think they live in their van or what have you, sometimes you just don't know if that's the truth or not, whether they're trying to bunny hop. It's a fine line because he did get upset. We didn't accept him in because anyone could say the story, oh, I live in my van. Me, if you've got your license registered Victoria, the cars are registered in Victoria, your home base is Victoria. If they come through and we saw him, you know, I couldn't, I don't know, I just didn't want to take the risk. But, you know.
Mel, we can't hear you again.
If already based in Queensland, then
You need to go where Matt is.
then they need oh, now I forgot what I was going to say. Hang on.
We can hear you now.
If they're based in if they're stuck in Queensland but they're Victorian plates, then they're, as far as we know, they're meant to stay put where they are. They can't travel. Is that right, Renee?
No. Can I just say, look, I've been fuming in the last, like, since shutdown, because our car park hasn't been empty, not once at all.
What?
We actually got a visitor from the police officer, our local police officer. Now, he was really nice about it because we've been lodging snaps and solves because we've been quite upset about how the people who do not have a residential address within Queensland, we got told there is a loophole, and so be it, that their residential address, because they are not residing within a home, their home is their caravan or is their camper van. Therefore, wherever their camper van is located, they have the right to move the 150 kilometres or the 250 kilometres or whatever that kilometre was the stage at for the roadmap to Queensland. So, yes, we got spoken to because, well, you have to take their word for it. But what you can do, the way I had it explained to me is it's not my responsibility to plead the policeman. As long as I do the best of my ability and have them sign that stat declaration form. Sorry, my words are so not with me. I'm so tired. As long as they sign that stat declaration form, stating that they have abided by all other legislation, then they are in the clear. You have a right to ask them, as far as I'm aware, for where they stayed previously and to show you a receipt for that. But that is my understanding. We did get a visit from the police.
I might have got this one. I may have got this one wrong just once, but it was late in the afternoon, and I've just heard during that day that people were trying to sneak through, and they were staying, like, just saying whatever they can to bunny hop. But yeah, thanks for that input. I really appreciate that.
As long as we don't get fines, like as long as we don't get the fines, that's what I'm stressing about for Kevin's swap.
I showed him our stack deck form. Have them sign that stack deck form. They are therefore taking the onus. That is my understanding. But you still under section 86, you have a right to refuse the entry of a person into your caravan park for the health and safety of everybody who is within your caravan park. I have that plastered all over our room for our girls so that they know and are aware of it. Because you can stand there. Like I had internationals prior to the lockdown coming through. I had internationals saying, "Oh yeah, we have been, we have been here for 14 days."
Yeah. And
you can see them both looking at each other, and and on some grounds I did refuse entry to a few people because you just weren't too sure where they'd been. But that stack deck form should exempt you from any kind of charges because you've done to the best of your ability to make sure who you are accepting into your park is abiding by all legislation.
Yeah, Roger, thanks for that.
Okay, thanks guys.
Okay, team. All right. Well, like we said, we'll all this information that we're getting along the way, we'll collate it all, and then we'll have a few other sessions where we can get you back and hopefully talking with some more attractions. We'll keep looking for them. Keep finding them. Anybody knows any, let me know. Okay.
So thank you for giving us your time. We know it's really valuable. So hopefully it's been worthwhile. And when we pull this stuff together, you can have a quick look at it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Be good.
Thanks for everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
See you, Judy, and see you, Bev, even though we didn't see you. But that's
Okay.
cool. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.